Hi everybody! How are you all doing? I hope you're all okay. Now before I introduce my next special guest, I really want to thank you all so much. I can't believe that it's been nearly 10 months since I did my very first introduction to Jen, and I remember being so awkward and I didn't know what to do when I had this tiny little stand that I'd bought for like £4 or something propped up against my books on my windowsill. And it took me probably about an hour and a half to do a 3-minute introduction to me. I was so nervous and I'd never done anything like it before, and it was just and here we are 10 months later. I'm introducing my next special guest, my 88th guest. This is crazy, absolutely crazy, but I am so thankful for everyone for their tips and advice, for people who've come forward and said, yes, I love an interview, yes please, let's chat, let's talk. But also to you, everyone out there, for watching. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't done so already, I mean, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, please make sure that you like and subscribe and you click the little bell for all of the latest updates, which will be here as long as you guys keep watching and as long as I have people to chat to. Here's a crazy good link into my next special guest. Actress, performer, musical theatre, singer, and all things fabulous. My next special guest, please welcome Stacey Ghent. Take a listen. First question is a nice open one. Where does your love of performing and theatre come from?
Oh, the first performing love I remember, well, actually say that. The first real performing love I remember having was at secondary school. I went to a school in the northeast, and we had it was such an active music department. So we had a wind band, which of course I was a band geek and played in. And we had what we called rock school, which at the time didn't feel quite as cringe as it does to say now. But it was so good. And I think it was like every Wednesday night we'd go, and then we'd put on these rock school concerts. The first time I remember thinking, oh my God, this feels brilliant, I sang Robin's Show Me Love in rock school. And we had like the school stage, and then we had like a runway.
Oh my gosh.
Everything I needed. And I was like strutting down in like my little crop top and like skin tight pants and thinking I was the absolute bee's knees and singing to the masses, which obviously included my mother. Who was like, she's mine. Mortified. That's the first time I remember for me thinking, oh, I like this singing lark. And weirdly, it still took a long time for me to get to a point where I thought I could do it for a job. I enjoyed it, but I was always the person who would let someone else go first. So if in the rock school concerts they were running short of time, I would offer to just not perform, or I'm already in something else, so I'll not be in that. But I grew up in the Girls' Brigade as well, which is like a Christian youth organisation.
Yeah.
Which again sounds a lot more Bible camp than it is. But we had a band, and I swear that's why I lasted in it so long. We had a marching band, and from being tiny, as in like the first pictures of me joining in with the band, I was like 1.5, and I got a pair of Pimbles cymbals for my birthday, and was just like marching along and like clashing them. And oh my God, the pictures are ridiculous. Like the band they were really good actually, and they would do these marching displays. We had like an exchange with a music group in Norway. So there's times when we would go over there and be part of their big like music festival. And there's pictures of the band like doing these wonderful displays on the field, and I'm just marching through them with my cymbals. They're all having to like dodge around.
Brilliant.
Probably that's my actual earliest, but I don't think I realised how much then I enjoyed the performance element of it.
Yeah.
But it probably wasn't. Oh gosh, well I did music at school, secondary school, and then I did a performing arts course at college. I did 2 of them, a national diploma and a high national diploma, and then I kind of lost it. Like I just got a bit disenchanted with the whole career aspect of it, and I was a bit frustrated by uninspirational teachers,
Yeah.
and then before I knew where I was topping my course up to a degree, and then I became a teacher, like a primary school teacher. So then I got PGCE for that. And it was after about 6 or 7 years, I was still working as a musical director for a young person's stage school. And the kids were like going to drama school. And I was like, oh, that's, yeah, well done. Okay, off you go. Bye, Lauren, yeah. Okay, bye, Hazel, yeah. Great, bye, Danny, yeah. And then I thought, this is not what I was put on the earth for. So I was a lot older when I actually was like, oh my God, I could do this for a job. I think I was 26 when I went to drama school, maybe it's even later. So in terms of actually enjoying performance, it's been years.
Yeah.
But considering it as a career really was very, very late for me. Very, very late.
Was it due to like confidence, or was it just kind of like thinking, well, actually, you know, is this a job for me?
I think confidence is something in a way, in that comments I'd had from different teachers had always stuck, and they hadn't really been insults, but they were very easily interpreted as not quite good enough. Things about like so I've got quite like an earthy, don't even know how to describe it, because I don't know what the truth is. I just know what the teachers have told me. Quite like an earthy singing voice. Which would be quite suited to like jazz, like, or soul type music. But teachers regularly thought that I was on the verge of losing my voice. Like, oh, are you unwell? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Are you unwell?
No.
You okay? No, fine. Yeah. Okay, great. That's the next question. But that has stuck from school, from secondary school right throughout, to the point where I was at drama school, and the vice principal of the college said the same thing. Like, he wanted to help me fix my voice, and I was like, there's literally nothing wrong with it. I've been full camera down my throat. Nothing wrong with it. My folds are coming together. No signs of nodules. It's just how I sound. And I think it's my accent. Like, we talk quite at the back of our throat. It's quite glossy, it's quite attacked, everything's quite wide, and that's I've always just put it down to that. So they're always like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah.
Are you?
Am I okay? And there was always a bit of a politeness as well. I was from primary school, like juniors, I was bullied quite badly, and I think from that, which I didn't realise for a long time, was it made me very polite about making sure other people were happy. So like, oh no, you want to audition for that? Okay, yeah, you go. Yeah, I'll just wait over here. So I would do college auditions for, like, we did Into the Woods at college. It was the most ludicrous thing. Into the Woods at college, and there was so many parts that I desperately wanted to be, but I ended up getting the part that nobody else could sing, which ironically was the opposite of anything. Like, I think I played Rapunzel, who's got this like proper high, like ridiculous, which is not me at all, because nobody else could do it. I was like, I'll do that, fine. And that has gone on until I got to drama school, and then I very swiftly kicked that out of myself. It's amazing. You don't realise how damaging little comments can be, and they're not, as you say, they're not the, oh, that's not really for you, have another think, because actually those fire you up and go, screw you, I'm going to do it. It's the okay, thanks for coming comments. That was thank you. Great, thank you.
So talk about kind of like the training that you had then. You said you kind of went into it a bit later on. Do you think that that's kind of really important to have when you have a career in performing arts, to have the training, or do you kind of think, you know, it very much depends what kind of path you're going, what type of person you are?
I do think it's very dependent on what kind of person you are. I think for me, I knew I needed the training because I had done it all. I had sort of done all the technique and all the stuff earlier on, but I'd had such a chunk in between, and I didn't really know enough about the industry. I didn't know what I was getting into. I lived 300 miles away from London. I didn't know what it was to try and get an agent. I didn't know what it was to get to a dance call, or to have an official singing lesson, or So for me, all of that side of it, I knew I didn't want a long course. So the course
Yeah.
I ended up doing in London was only a year.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed to be in London. I wanted to be at a college that would help me get an agent, which incidentally it didn't. But that's another rant for the day. They would claim they did, but they would be lying. Um, and I knew I needed like proper vocational training. I didn't want to go anywhere where I needed to write essays. I'd done that for my degree. I was a
Yeah.
primary school teacher. I was used to paperwork. I didn't need it. I knew that I had the ability to write. I just needed busy vocational training. The college I chose for me was the absolute right one.
Brilliant.
But I don't think it necessarily has to be for everyone. I know there's a lot of people very, very successful now who didn't train.
Yeah.
There is a slight lean towards the sort of fast track route of sort of reality TV shows like The Voice and stuff that have gotten people into the industry, but then likewise they've also helped the careers of people who have already done the job for 10-15 years and are like, I'm so sick of being seen for the same parts, now I want to be seen for something different. So they're incredibly useful as well. I think it depends on you and what you want out of your career, really. I think it's very one thing I will say for training is it's really good if you have that kind of brain. It's a really good way of getting used to how to analyze people, and not in a judgy way, not in a way you're going to go to job school and go, oh, she's like that, but just like, oh, that's how you react to that situation, or that's how I react to that situation, and actually how can I transfer that to a script, and in truth, when somebody gets bad news, how do they actually react? They don't always burst into tears, they don't always get angry. 9 times out of 10 they'll make a joke and it'll be uncomfortable for everyone except them. So I think you can also get that just from life. If you're interested in humans, you can just observe people and look at how the truthfulness of how people react to any situation. Which I don't think you have to go to drama school for, but it does hopefully teach you about discipline. And that is something that I do feel quite strongly about in terms of my job, because I do think you have to be quite disciplined. A lot of times I'll end up on a job with people who think that getting the job is the peak. Like that is, oh my God, I got the job, now I'm an actor. And it's like, no, you've now got to perform to 1,200 people, then you're an actor. And you've got to do that 8 times a week, then you're an actor. Then you've got to do that for 6 months, and then you're an actor.
Almost getting the job is kind of the easiest bit.
Because the thing about getting the job is that that's the validation that somebody has gone, I'm willing to pay you. You are good enough for this role. And that is that gives you such like a peacock feeling. Then it's back on you of being like,
come
oh
on
my
then.
God, but
show us what you got.
And day one, and never will you ever have as many first days of a job as you will if you're an actor. Like people stress about the first day of my job today, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on my 4th of the year, like brand new room of people and brand new cast and brand new crew, and you get to know them in such a small space of time. That was a long-winded answer, sorry.
No, it's an amazing answer. Great. And what would you say so far have been like your wow moments in your career?
Wow moments. Right, weird ones. I was part of a concert version of a show called Reasons to Be Cheerful, and it's the only, is it the only, apart from going to Dublin, it's the only international job I've ever done. And we went to Stuttgart in Germany, and we did it was part of a festival, but it was in the middle of the World Cup. Oh my God, and it was the year that Germany won. My God, that was a good week. That was a good wow moment, but for very different reasons.
That's so funny.
We finished our first rehearsal, and it was the night that Germany won, and I've got videos of the streets, just cars rammed, just like for like hours. God, okay, that was one.
That's amazing.
Tommy, the Tommy musical I did was another one. That is one of my, if not my favourite ever theatre job I've done. It was incredible from start to finish. And actually the one that I was, not that I wasn't looking forward to it, but the one that I kind of got not expecting to get it, and was just like, I'll do this self-tape and fine. And then from day one I was like, this, you feel like you were working with the whole family. It was gorgeous, really, really gorgeous. For reasons that my family are obsessed with it, I was buzzing to get a part on Coronation Street earlier this year, and it was the tiniest part ever. But you'd think I'd like already won a Brit Award or a BAFTA or an Oscar or a Grammy or something when I rang home and told them. So that was a big wow
Amazing.
moment. That was a
Yeah.
big wow moment. And then lockdown happened and ruined any chance of me going back. So that's fun.
I loved Tommy when you said about Tommy, because you weren't kind of expecting it, and it wasn't one that you'd kind of put on your list and you'd hyped up. And aren't they sometimes the best ones?
Absolutely. Yeah, the people you meet, because you go in not expecting much. You don't put any tickets on it. You don't put any tickets on yourself. You're just like, I'm here as part of a job and I'll get on with things and fine. And actually, it was a really, really difficult time of life through that job for me, particularly towards the end.
Okay.
And they proved to be the best people to be with. They were they were wonderful, really incredible.
And that's the thing, isn't it? That is the thing, you know, when you get there and you build such great relationships with people through the highs and the low moments, you know then you're like, this is a good group of people.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Absolutely. So talk us through about your favourite part of being a member of a company then.
I like finding out people's quirks, things about them that they don't necessarily know about themselves. I really, really enjoy, like, I love it once a show's open and you're into the sort of routine of it. But actually, weirdly, I find that shift of like time and the routine of working late, getting up late, missing a chunk of the day, going back to work again, I find that really challenging. I love rehearsals. Like, I am obsessed with them. I love doing all the speed work of finding out about character and working out who's in touch with who and creating the information walls and table work and coming together with ideas and going, oh, you think that about us, okay, that changes us, that okay, fine. Getting into dance calls and learning the routine and staying in the rehearsal room late, and I love it. I love the rehearsal process. That's the bit I really miss now, actually. All these shows are coming on TV and are being streamed and stuff, and we're seeing the finished product. And I'm like, yeah, that is lovely and I do miss it, but actually it's the 4, 5, 6 weeks before it's open that I'm burning for. That's my favourite part, I think.
But I think, like, because it's so creative, isn't it? You can kind of let that creativity like go wild, and so much of the time, like, the characters that you thought you already knew, like, you don't, and that's buzzing.
But being there when other people create things and when other people do things and go, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but that actually works really well. I remember when I watched, I don't know if you watched Hamilton when it came out on Disney Plus, and I had never seen it before, had tickets and then ended up working away so couldn't go. And there was one, I love like smooth transitions where the stage is set and then something happens to distract you and then all of a sudden it's a different room. Like for me, there was one bit where I think it was a chair or something was in the middle, and I had to rewind it 3 and 4 times to work out how did that chair get off. And I think it passed through about 3 different people, and they passed it to someone else, and then they went in a different direction, so it distracted you. And then they went, and I was like, I wish I'd been in the rehearsal room when they were like, we need to get this chair off, it needs to go off stage left, how are we going to do it? And they were like, well, I'm free, but I have to end up there, and I'm free and I have to end up there. Right, well, if you pass it, oh God, it's just the best, mate. I love it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, when you watch, like, when you're in a rehearsal room and then you watch the end product and you're like, that's so cool. How do we get from that to that? That is very cool. That is. It's amazing. So have you got a skill or discipline that you'd love to learn?
I have, oh God, my entire adult life wanted to learn the piano. But I've never been in one place long enough to have proper lessons. And then we got into lockdown and I was nowhere near a piano, or any kind of keyboard or anything like that. So that I feel like this is actually a massive waste of time in terms of learning that. But I also wanted to learn British Sign Language. That has been on my to-do list again all of my adult life. I'm hard of hearing, so I feel like I'm like 3 degrees away from I could lose my hearing at any time. So in lockdown, I started BSL lessons. So I did level 1, I did level 2. Trying to think if I didn't know, I couldn't find anyone to do level 3. So I'm now looking to get my level 3 and then move through it. So that has been I have thankfully ticked that skill in motion. But they're me too, always. I mean, I'd love to do the splits. It's not going to happen. I'd love to be able to consistently do a quadruple pirouette. It's probably not going to happen. But as long as I can get out a clean single, I'm quite happy.
Yeah, you're all good. It's all good.
I check in the kitchen every night. Like, yeah, I got it.
We're all good. We're fine. I think like with the piano, it is such a skill, isn't it? I would love to be able to play too. I think when you're growing up though, there's always so much going on, isn't there? And you kind of think like it's such a discipline that you really, really need to be focused on, and it takes such a long time. Whereas like with things like the singing and the acting and stuff, at a younger level, if you've already got an interest in it, you've already ticked quite a few boxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, and BSL is incredible. Like, I said to you before we started chatting that I've been doing it with my kids, and it's incredible, like the fascination people have with it. And it's like when you say to a child, like, that's a language. Somebody uses that to communicate, and you see these children like, wow, that is incredible. And
I think it should be taught in school much more than international foreign languages should. It should be the first option on the language list from being tiny, because why should there be such a huge community of people that of the same sort of nationality, same country born, that we can't communicate with? And if you want to get into theatre, it's proper useful. When we did Tommy, having basic sign language backstage meant we could have full conversations with each other about something that was going wrong on stage and could be fixed without having to talk. Really brilliant.
And also as well, it opens up a whole new world of people. You're not just talking about people who have hearing loss. You're talking about people who've got autism. You've got talking about people who've got different disabilities that find communication verbally really difficult. You're talking about a massive amount of people that are missing out on something. Whereas like here in Wales, it's compulsory to learn Welsh until you're 16 years old from tiny. Okay.
Wow.
You asked me, I lived in Wales till I was 18 years old, 19 years old, okay, and ask me do I have any friends that speak first language Welsh? One. I know one person.
No way.
One. Like you say, BSL, like, it was something that I was really interested in at like 19, and I went and found the different levels and went through those.
I've got deaf friends who've gone into professional contracts, and nobody apart from their interpreter has been able to speak to them. And then it because I think the British politeness, it then puts people off, and they go, oh well, I don't want to be rude by not being able to speak, so I just won't bother, which actually is so much more rude and so much more exclusionary. I think it should be taught.
So tell us then, describe the difference between stage and screen acting for you.
I'm trying to think of a better way of saying that size of performance. If you think of you're trying to tell a story on stage and you're even if it's a 450-seater house, you've got to get that story volume-wise, expression-wise. The people at the back have still got to see what story you're telling and how you're feeling. They've got to feel it across a massive room. Whereas screen, it's literally here. So the slightest is seen. And it's minuscule, but with that it's really hard it's taken a long time to then, and still learning really, to not box yourself in, to not feel like, I don't know if you've seen The Crown, this latest season of The Crown, when Princess Diana has been taught how to speak to people, and she has the thing wrapped around her arms to stop her from expressing herself through her hands, and that's how it initially used to feel for me, screen acting, when actually it's just so much more, and this is going to sound negative towards theatre, and I don't mean it, but it's so much more grounded in truth, in that it's just about having a conversation with your mate, as opposed to having a conversation with your mate under a magnifying glass. Which actually it's just got to be, I imagine that it's got to be bigger for theatre as opposed to it's got to be smaller for TV. TV should be the norm, and then you expand it and magnify it for a theatre space, because if you're performing in a studio which has got like 50 seats in, you're basically going to feel like you're performing for a TV camera, because the audience if you take one step to the right too far, you're standing on their feet. So it's like like TV performance is normal day-to-day communication, and that's what I was saying earlier about being able to analyze people and know how conversations go in real world.
Yeah.
That's where TV starts. And then obviously you've got extremes of things like back in the day of like men behaving badly and like the film Dumb and Dumber. So like it's still grounded in a sense of truth, but it's a bit more, it's a bit bigger, it's a bit
more animated.
Yeah. But the general TV soap, ITV drama.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just obsessed with Netflix at the minute. I literally don't leave my bedroom. I'm quite unwell with it. But yeah, so TV as a base level of, that is where to start. So however you talk to somebody, that is TV acting.
Yeah.
And then bigger for theatre as opposed to
And would you say that you prefer one or the other, or you enjoy both but very different?
The latter, yeah. I like the sort of done and dustedness of TV in that you do a bit and then you park it, and you do a bit and you park it, and you have to be really reactive. You have to know how to feel or how to look like you're feeling, because you get maybe one read through and you'll start and you'll go, right, should we have a little read through together? Great, blah, blah, blah. You might get some notes from the director, let's read it again, and then you're filming it, and that's it. As opposed to theatre, you get between, like, minimum I've ever had has been 3 weeks rehearsals. And that, then you're like, you can arrive totally fresh and go, right, I'm a sponge, let me know how you want this to be. So I really love the having to be on the ball of TV, but I love hearing an audience respond. I love knowing that for 2.5 hours you've changed somebody's life and you can feel. That makes me sound like we're the narcissist. I'm not a narcissist, just really not. But you can feel their energy, and then you can see them afterwards, and they might come and say hello, or you might see them in the pub, or you see them in Costa if you're on a matinee, and they're like, oh my god, you were in that thing, and it's like, how can you tell with a wig cap on and you look bald?
Really? No.
Yeah, but you feel a response, as opposed to, dare I say it, turning to social media to find out what anybody thought of your TV program. Don't do that. If you end up don't go to social media to get reviews. Don't do it. No good will come from it.
Don't do it. So, what advice do you think you would give your younger self?
Save money.
Okay.
That first job you're gonna get, that you think you are Rockefeller because you've been paid really well, don't spend it all. Because you'll never be paid that well again. That's the first thing.
Got it. Yeah, I feel that.
Everything will be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end. So
That's
don't think that whatever is happening right here and now is it forever. That this is as good as it's going to get, or even this is as bad as it's going to get. That really crappy job you get, you're like, oh god, nothing can be worse than this. It can. It can, but it'll just make you really, really, really thankful for the good ones. Just, it sounds really dull, but not even dull, but just be kind. Everybody, in all seriousness, everybody is going through something, and as hard as you think your day is, somebody else is having a hard day as well. And the worst thing about it, people always say, oh, just ring and we can have a chat, and I'm like, nobody wants to ring somebody to tell them how sad they are. But if you can, do it, and just be kind on the other end.
Absolutely.
So they would be my 3, I think.
For sure. I love those 3. No, I love the fact that you were like, save money first.
So save money and find out how to pay your tax.
Oh my god.
Because they don't teach you that at college. If you can come up with a way of having a course that teaches people how to do tax, get that patented, get that trademark, whatever the right term is, and get into schools and teach them it.
Because honestly, having done it for years, it's still the most stressful part of my year.
I've had 10 months where I've had nothing to do, and I still haven't done my tax.
Oh no.
From that.
Of that, be kind is super important, because you just don't know what's going on, and also as well, like, isn't it lovely when somebody says to you, thanks for that? Thanks for that.
You didn't have to do that, or that was really nice of you to just mention that.
Yeah, thank
Just so
you.
silly, because you think, why would you not tell
Yeah.
somebody that they've done something really well, or
Yeah.
just pick your battles? And if you're having to note a session or give someone advice, just go, no, actually, it was great today. Enjoy it. Enjoy tonight.
Yeah.
Just be kind.
Exactly.
Not
Yeah.
everything has to be pulled up upon.
No, not at all. So what would you say, we're in winter now, what is your favourite part about winter, the season, usually when we're not in lockdown?
Lol. Lol. Yes. In a normal world, I love the smell and the sound of a huge rain pour.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Oh God. I do like it when it snows. We haven't had any snow up here. I
No,
like
we
getting
haven't.
wrapped up and going out, thinking you're warm enough, and then coming home and not being able to feel your toes.
Yep.
And I love it when it's so bright outside.
I think because it's such a contrast, isn't it, when you're in the summer and you're all like baking and everybody's got like ice creams and it's just
Yeah.
like, what did you have for lunch today? Ice cream. What did you have for tea? Ice cream. What did you have for ice cream? Because you're just so hot. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, so it is a nice kind of like contrast. But yeah, I mean, this year we haven't really been able to go out in it. So
No way. No way at all.
we've just had the heating cranked up and you just get cold, like an actual
Yes. An
cold,
actual
because you've got
cold.
because you've got the heating on, and it's cold, but you're hot and you're sweltering. Last night, honest to God, I'm there in I'm only in a like sweatshirt with like my little fluffy socks, which is like plausible. It's January.
Yeah.
I came back down and everyone's like, what's happened to you? I'm in like a short sleeve t-shirt. I've got my leggings rolled up. I'm like, it's boiling in here, absolutely boiling. Yeah, and melting.
Yeah.
You're right. No, I'm not. And yeah, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I don't feel great. It's all
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the heating, man.
Yeah, I agree. I
Oh.
agree.
So during lockdown, what has kept you busy? What have you been up to? Netflix.
BSL was one thing. Netflix is lockdown 3.
Yeah.
Lockdown 1, I had high hopes for Netflix and I just didn't, because the weather was so good. And
Yeah.
I did, in lockdown 1, I did a bit of a running challenge. So
Oh,
I
amazing.
started doing couch to 5K for
Yeah.
the 1700th, 95th time in my life, and actually managed to finish it. But
Yeah.
when I got halfway through, I try and raise quite a lot of money for a charity back home. And partway through, it was the anniversary of the reason that the charity had been set up.
Okay.
And I wanted to try and do something. I was getting a bit frustrated that there was nothing I could do. I wasn't working anywhere, so I couldn't like ask anybody for sponsorship. I wasn't doing anything. And then I had the genius idea. So the number 22 is quite special to the charity. So I had
Okay.
the genius idea of running 22 5K runs, which I'm still pleased I did, and I'm still stunned that I managed it.
That's
But
incredible.
it's ridiculous. I wanted to get it done by, I started it, so the anniversary of the charity was set up. Two friends of mine, their children were killed in the Manchester attack. So
Wow.
they were boyfriend and girlfriend, Chloe and Liam, and the parents of both children have set up this incredible trust, which is there to fund either young performers or young sportsmen. Chloe was a singer-songwriter, and Liam was a cricketer. So
Okay.
they fund young
That's
sports
amazing.
people or young performers. So it's like audition fees or college tuition or dance outfits, or they
Yeah.
bought a boxing ring for a young boxing club. They've given strips to football teams and cricket teams. So it's brilliant. But the
Wow.
anniversary is in May, so I started it that week and was like so full of the adrenaline of getting it done. And like,
Yeah.
but then as I started to do it, the summer got hotter and hotter and hotter. So by the time I had 3 left, and it was planned that the Thursday, which was the last one, was going to be like 37 degrees.
Oh my
And
God.
I made it. It's so ridiculous. I made it so the attack happened at 10:31 at night. So I made a pack that I would start running at 10:31 in the morning. So I couldn't do the sensible thing of just running before the sun came up. So I was sort of running from 10:31, finishing at 11:15, which is like 45 minutes before like peak heat, which was hysterical, but also it was just ludicrous.
Oh,
Ludicrous.
bless you.
But thankfully got it all done. But the last
Oh,
three
amazing.
were probably the slowest times of all 22 runs, because I was just like dragging myself into it.
Melting.
And oh my gosh, ridiculous. And treating myself with an ice cream afterwards. There we go, ice cream again. But yeah, that was probably my biggest lockdown achievement.
That's
22
incredible.
years in the space of about 5 weeks.
And did you
Never.
raise lots of money?
I think I did. I raised about, I think it was about £400-500.
Wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
which was brilliant, which was
That
really
is
good.
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and obviously the charities struggled this year with not having
Of course.
big functions. We normally have a big ball, which raised a lot of money. We normally have loads of people running the Great North Run, and that's all gone. So it was nice to be able to do something.
That's amazing. Amazing. And what do you hope for 2021? Kind of, do you have anything in the pipeline? Is there anything that you'd love to achieve, or just like
Just surviving.
yeah, literally,
Just
yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, I was just chatting to a few friends of mine this morning, and we've already decided that we want our money back on the 14-day guarantee of 2021, because this is not really working out for us. Rather the cash alternative, quite frankly. But things in the pipeline. I am recording. It's not even a radio play. I don't believe. I'm recording something on Monday, which is for BBC Sounds, for some new writers, and which is really exciting. And that has come off the back of another radio play that I did back end of last year. But that's it really for me in terms of, because everything now needs to be able to be done at home now that the theatres have shut again. And I'd love to think that something on Corrie might come back, or we might get to a point where that storyline can be reignited again. But who's to say what will be allowed or what will be possible? So that in my brain I've kind of had to park it, but there's just a little bit going, maybe.
Please.
I would like to do some more screen stuff. This is the year where I get really good at self-tapes. That's my plan.
Yes.
At the minute I've like got all the gear and no idea, so I just sort of do them and bash them out and hope for the best. But this is the year that I get really good at them and know how to have the lighting and know where to put the microphone and can churn it out in a couple of hours instead of a whole day. That's my plan.
Literally, and you're like, oh, I got some really good stuff there, really good. You watch it back and you're like, what the hell?
Who am I? What am I doing?
What is
that was real.
Here?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Welcome. Thanks for asking me there. It's been lovely.
That's okay. We finally got the internet working, so we're all going.
Frisbee, I know.
Oh my god. This is where like we finished the recording and I'm like, I'm so sorry, Stacey. Can we do it again? Get none of it recorded.
Okay, test the acting skills, make it all sound fresh.
Of course we can, yeah.
Of
Is this girl for real? Is she? No, thank you so much. Honestly, I've really, really enjoyed myself, and I'd love to keep in touch.
Definitely.
That'd be amazing.
Good luck with all the Zoom teaching.
Thank you. I mean, I'm hoping it's not for the whole rest of the year, but we'll give it a go.
I'm saying that.
Oh, I know. Do you know what makes me laugh though? The kids are so sweet. Like, they've always seen me, you know, fresh faced. I've always got like a bit of makeup on. The hair's vaguely there, you know. The outfit might be questionable because we're in a rehearsal room, but we're all good. We get onto Zoom calls and so many of the kids are hilarious. They're like, you can see they can't
Are you quite well?
I've got my glasses on, my hair's on top of my head. There's no amount of makeup going on. Literally, I'm wearing a jumper they saw me teaching last week, and I'm like, right.
That's brilliant.
You can see them all, bless them. Like, Jen's changed. She's really, it's terrifying. Yes, somebody ate Jen. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, what is going on? Oh man, we've got to do what we've got to do. But thank you so much, and please take care of yourself.
You too.
Stay safe, and yeah, I'll speak to you soon.
You will indeed. Thanks so much.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you so much, Stacey. I had such a wonderful time chatting with you, and all my very best wishes for 2021. And to you guys at home, all my very best wishes to you. I've still got lots more guests to come. Make sure you tune in next time for another fantastic interview. Take care. Bye everyone.